And it also stay on the screen once we get started. All right. Alan, do you remember today's claim?
I think I do.
It had to do with testing more than one
variables.
Yes. So we're exploring whether or not scientists can test more than one variable at a time, right?
We are.
All right, Alan, I'm about to start the Kahoot. Do you want to tell us how we're going to do that when this gets started? Let me adjust the volume so they'll be able to hear it. Can you hear that? Thumbs up if you can hear my. Okay, good deal. Here we go.
We're going to be testing variables today with a Mentos geyser. And so here in a second, you're going to see some friends of mine who are shooting off their geysers, and they're doing quite a bit of them.
So Alan, what are these Mentos geysers using?
These Mentos geysers are using Coke of some kind, and they're using Mentos. It's as simple as that. 2 ingredients.
All right, I'm going to stop screen sharing for just a minute from the Kahoot. We'll get to the poll, but first, Alan, you need to introduce our special guest because she's actually leading us through this experiment.
Perfect. So our guest today is Dr. Kari Basso, who's a chemistry professor at the University of Florida, and she works with some pretty neat stuff that she's going to show you later today.
Oh, and I'm trying to add a spotlight. There we go.
Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be with you today. Science is my favorite thing, and it's been my favorite thing since I was a really little girl. And so I feel really lucky that I get to do science every day. So I'm really excited to do this experiment with you and talk about how we design an experiment that we can then make conclusions from. All right, so when we do an experiment, the first thing that is involved is someone asks a question. Why is this happening? How is this happening? And so our question today is, what affects the height of a geyser made with Mento mints and soda pop? And so here we have our soda pop and we have our Mentos, and we want to figure out how we can experimentally decide which way is going to make the tallest geyser. And we need to think about what kind of parameters would affect the height of the geyser. And so we're going to think about these kind of things. So I want to think about some ideas on what we could do with the soda and or the Mentos to make the geyser the highest. Okay.
And Carrie, do you want to give a minute or do you want me to go to the next Kahoot question, the poll?
Yep, I think go to the next one. Okay, so I hope that you used your big brains and thought about some of these ideas. So how many people thought maybe the number of Mentos that you would add to the soda? Okay, so that's something that we could test. We can take a soda and add 1 Mentos, and then another soda and add 2 Mentos, and so forth, and see how that changes the height of the geyser. And some other things that we can change is the type of soda. That is a difference, you know, like the orange soda might act better than the cola kind of soda. And then how much soda that we're going to use. So just like how many Mentos, maybe the difference matters in how much of the size of the container that the soda is, the big one or the little one. And then finally, we can think about temperature. Will the geyser be bigger with warm soda or with cold soda? And all of these are our variables that we can study to see how that changes the size of the geyser. So we're going to do a poll and let you guys vote as to which variables we're going to change for this experiment.
All right, so this is where you guys need to participate. This is multi-select, so choose one or more that you think we should change to test our question. The experiment is up to you. What is Alan gonna change? The type of soda, the number of Mentos, the temperature of the soda, whole or crushed Mentos? You're gonna put them to work based on your answers. All right, you got 15 more seconds to put in your answers.
All right, well, this is exciting. Let's see, the most votes go for the number of Mentos. And then the next one is the type of soda, in which we have regular and diet soda. And then the 16 of you wanted to see how the temperature of the soda changed it. And then the rest wanted to see if whole or crushed candy made the difference. So I guess that means that we're going to try different numbers of Mentos and which kind of soda, right?
I think that's the case. So let me switch over my camera. Boom. See you over here. Yeah, awesome. Okay. So here we have some Mentos. Here we have some Diet Coke. Here we have some actual Coke. And so what I'm thinking is we're gonna do 3 Mentos in our Diet Coke, and we're gonna do 5 in our actual Coke. So we're gonna set you aside and we'll do our 3 Mentos first. Let me get my goggles on. Let me get my Coke over here. All right. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. My cord caught me. All right. Now we're all good. Okay, let me get my Mentos ready. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, try that again. Okay, let me open my Coke. All right, let's try this again. All right, here we go. I need to back away quickly. All right, 3, 2, 1. Got about right here. So I'm gonna say that was about 6 inches. That's a good estimate. All right,
Excellent.
you're seeing it's still foaming up. You see it's still going. All right, so can I try to remember about 6 inches? Okay. Put my cap on you and set you to the side. All right, let me clean myself off. All right, let's open our actual Coke. And for this, we're gonna do 5 Mentos. All right, let's try this again. Let me count out 5. 1, 2, 3. We're skipping from the bottom of the barrel now. All right, I got my 5 Mentos. We got our Coke open already. All right, they're all stacked up. 3, 2, 1. Oh. I think that one might be taller. I don't know. We changed 2 different things. I don't know if we can, what we can decide on that. You want to take it away?
Yes. So, students, what do you think changed the height of the geyser? Can we know? We changed the kind of soda and we changed the number of Mentos. So we actually made, what can we conclude from these results? Do we have answers? Do we think that the number of Mentos increased the height? Or do we think that the soda kind made the difference? This is a tricky question. We didn't do temperature. Not this one. Everybody have their answers? They're still coming in. Five more seconds. All right, so the most of you thought that the number of Mentos increased, but we made a mistake when we did this study because we had two variables. We made two changes to our experiment. We changed the kind of soda and we changed the number of Mentos. So we don't know. We can't conclude anything from this experiment because we actually don't know if the number of Mentos changed it or whether it was the kind of soda, because remember, we use diet soda and we use regular soda. So now we have to scratch our heads and just say that we don't really know what changed. So when we do experiments in real life, when we do real science, we only can change one thing at a time. You can do several different experiments. So a better experiment would be to change the soda but keep the number of Mentos the same, or keep the soda the same and change the number of Mentos. Same thing, you can keep the number of Mentos but change the temperature. So you only get to pick one variable for you to really understand what your experiment results mean. So we have to do this experiment again, and this time we have to make sure that we're only choosing one variable to test which makes the bigger geyser. So we're going to do this again. We're going to do another poll where we'll let you decide what is the most important aspect to the geyser. Is it going to be the type of soda, temperature, the number of Mentos, or will keeping the candy whole or breaking it up into small pieces? So you vote now, and we're going to repeat the experiment, and now we should be able to make a conclusion.
And this time it's single select. So you should be only able to pick one. And Kari is going to go with the one that gets the most votes.
We got to make sure that we pick one so that Alan can get just coated in soda. We want to make the biggest geyser we can. One more second. All right. Ooh, this was a close one. So 27 voted to test the number of Mentos, and then 21 voted the temperature. That's a good one too. So we are going to pick one kind of soda, and we are going to test the number of Mentos to see how that impacts the height of the geyser. Are you ready, Alan?
I am ready. So I'm going to choose diet soda to test. And I'm thinking 1 Mento versus 5 Mentos. I think that's a good test. So let me grab out 2 diet sodas. Let me switch my camera over so you can see me. Boom. All right. Make sure I'm not breaking anything while I'm back here. Okay. We're going to do our 1 Mento first, and we'll end on a bang with our 5 Mentos. So we'll open you up.
And Kari, if we
Perfection.
had more time, we'd probably want to do more tests than just 1 or 5, right?
That's right. You want to have, in a good experiment, at least 5 data points so that you can get an accurate result. So we would want to do 5 different number of Mentos.
But we just don't have the time on this Zoom today.
Yes, but if you're going to do a science fair project for your 6th grade science fair project, you could do that.
All right, ready to go? Here we
Ready to
go.
go.
All right. I have my 1 Mento inside of here. Well, that's just sad. Almost nothing came out. Disappointing. Disappointing all around. I need to have my goggles on for this one. Nothing came out. Let me wait for it to finish before I put my top on. You're still going slowly, but you're taking too long. Sorry. All right. Now we have our 5 Mento experiment. This one I am putting my goggles on for. Okay. Here we have our 5 Mentos. Let me stack you up in a little tower. Perfect. All right. Final countdown. 3, 2, 1. No, my end's folded up. Turn you upside down. Much, much bigger this time. Throw it in for good measure. There we go. All right. I think in this experiment, we can decide a conclusion this time.
Excellent. That is much, much more clearer for us to be able to figure out the results. So now this should be easy. What can we conclude from these results? Based off of the variable that we chose, which was the number of Mentos. We got 20 seconds left. I think next time, temperature is something that is always interesting too. All right, let's see what we can conclude. Yay, good job, students. The number of Mentos increased the height because when we did 1 Mentos, the geyser was only a little one, and then when we added 5, it was much, much bigger. So we can conclude that the number of Mentos increases the height. We can also then, like we have been discussing, do other experiments and maybe end up combining a bunch of results to make a giant geyser. So it might be number of Mentos and temperature, but each of those variables need to be tested by themselves. So I hope that you learned something today, because designing your experiment is more important. That's what we spend most of our time doing, is designing our experiments to make sure that we have data that we can make conclusions from, because if we make a mistake in the experimental design, then we can't make any conclusions about our data.
Since we have a few minutes left, I want to give my teachers a chance to ask some questions. So we're going to take about a minute or so to have you discuss with your class teachers, and then you can write your students' questions in chat, and I'll ask Kari.
I see some hands up. I have one question and it says, have you ever found a soda that works the best or makes the highest geyser? And yes, the Diet Cola, Diet Coke makes the best geyser out of all the different kind of sodas. And we learned today, actually, behind the scenes, that the generic soda isn't as good as the real Coca-Cola soda. So if you want to do this experiment with your mom and dad at home, you can do it with Diet Coca-Cola. And then I have another question. It says, what would happen if we had used crushed Mentos instead of the whole ones? So that is a very good question. And so the reaction of the soda and the Mentos is based off of the gas bubbles in the soda with the surface of the Mentos. And so I think that the crushed makes a bigger geyser than the intact, but is that right? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Could maybe
We don't
our
know.
students, if they have time to research this question, that could be your one variable that you change and report back. Let us know your findings.
Very good. Any other questions? Oh, how would the results change if we shook the bottle up before putting the Mentos in? That is another good question. That is excellent. But I think it's the same answer. This would be a good experiment for your class to do.
And for our teachers who are wondering, I know some of our teachers are in their unit or just finishing on chemical and physical changes. So this is a really good example of a physical change because you're actually taking something out of a mixture. Oh, we had another good one from Miss Turner's class. Why does Mentos make it explode?
So that's the, it's actually a physical reaction in this case. It's not a chemical reaction. So it is little tiny ridges on the candy that are reacting with the gas bubbles, I believe. So.
Yeah, it actually has a fancy word, friends. It's called nucleation, which is a really, really fancy word, just meaning that those CO2 bubbles are attracted to those ridges, right? And they want to come out of the bottle.
I'm excited for this question as well from Miss Kelly's class. And their question was, do any other candies work the same way that Mentos do?
Sounds like another experiment to me.
Kari, can you tell us a little bit about what you do as a scientist? Because we haven't learned about your background at all.
Well, I am at University of Florida, and I actually mostly work with students that are getting their PhD in chemistry. So they've already gone to college and then they're going to more school. But basically we do lots of experiments where we study different diseases. So like we try and study cancer and we try and study heart disease. And we even study like tooth decay in our lab. So brush your teeth. But yeah, we do a lot of fun science here. We do science on things that you can't see. They're way too small for anybody to see, but we have fun doing what we do, and I love being a scientist. It's great.
I am not seeing any more questions come in, but teachers, if you have more that we haven't answered and you want to send them to me through email, we'll be more than happy to get them answered. But I don't know about you, Alan. I have had a great time with Kari. So Kari, thank you so much for helping our students learn the importance of only changing one variable when they're doing experiments. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.